yesterday, if you missed it, I recapped maybe the best WrestleMania of all time, specifically night two, WrestleMania 40, and from all the metrics that came out this morning here on WWE and what they did this weekend in terms of gate, ticket sales, merchandise, viewership, etc. This WrestleMania in Philadelphia was absolutely a massive success. Shout out to the Wells Fargo Center. Shout out to Lincoln Financial Field. I said it yesterday, but in case you didn't see my WrestleMania recap, my good buddy Michael Reiner went to Philadelphia, went to the Hall of Fame, went to SmackDown, went to both nights of WrestleMania, went to NXT, went to Monday Night Raw. He will be on the show on Thursday as we talk about his entire experience. But what I want to get into today is I want to talk about the Raw after WrestleMania, which boy did it kick off with a bang. You got the game, the CCO of WWE, Paul Triple H Levesque, getting the loudest cheers, even more than the American Nightmare, even more than the final boss that I think I've ever heard on the Raw after WrestleMania ever. With that crowd, that very international crowd, it's of course everybody from Mania stays for the Raw after Mania. It's the best Monday Night Raw of the year, the highest viewership for Monday Night Raw of the year, and Triple H kicking it off to thank the fans, while the fans were also thanking the game. An incredible moment. Then we, of course, had the new undisputed champion leading us into the new era. I will say, I was shocked by the fact I thought that WWE would give Cody Rhodes the Winged Eagle WWE Championship. I thought they would retire the Universal Championship. At least that's what I would do. You guys know I'm a fan of Roman Reigns. If you've seen my TikTok lately, which is why I say all my social media links are in the description below, you should check out some of the exclusive TikToks that I have been doing where I've been outside in the elements, with a virtual background on my video podcast. Which, if you're not watching on YouTube and you're just listening on audio, again, all of the clips from the Brands World podcast are on YouTube. But I've been doing a lot of TikToks lately where, I've been in my studio without the virtual background. I've been outside in the elements, cutting promos on the Tribal Chief, the Final Boss, the American Nightmare, and talking about how I really did want my Tribal Chief, that at the table, the man that I acknowledge, Roman Reigns, to retain the Undisputed Championship, that I do not feel like that Cody Rhodes is going to be that John Cena, is going to be that Roman Reigns, is going to be that Stone Cold Steve Austin to lead us into the next era. But Cody got an amazing video tribute, I'll say that, and the man started crying in the middle of the ring, and while it was emotional, I'll say it again, I don't want my world champion bawling his eyes out in the middle of the ring. And we got a tease here. We got The Rock calling Philadelphia trailer park trash and everybody getting pissed off at him. But the final boss said something, and he said that Cody Rhodes, he has to leave for a few months, of course, to go film a movie. But when he comes back, he's coming for him. And that leads me to believe that in my own town, SummerSlam, Cleveland, Ohio, August 3rd, 2024, the final boss, the American Nightmare, will main event for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship. Now, The Rock also gave Cody Rhodes something in his palm and told him not to open his palm and told him to not disappoint him again. It was a very awkward end of the segment. There was also an exchange where The Rock held the Universal Championship, Cody Rhodes held the People's Championship. The crowd was chanting. This was awkward. It was kind of a little thing, but I think it was just so The Rock could obviously hold that championship again. And SummerSlam will be the former People's Champion against the current People's Champion. That 45-minute segment to open up the Raw after WrestleMania really showcased it all. Io Dragunov made his debut, defeating Shinsuke Nakamura. This is where we found out that the WWE draft is going to be occurring on the same night as the NFL draft on SmackDown, as well as, of course, a couple days later on Monday Night Raw. My prediction right now is Cody Rhodes will go over to Friday Night SmackDown. I think Drew McIntyre, Rhea Ripley, the Judgment Day, they will be the lead kingpins on Monday Night Raw. CM Punk will be on Raw. Drew McIntyre will be on Raw. Seth Rollins will be on Raw. I think they'll keep Solo Sikoa potentially on SmackDown and maybe Jimmy. Who knows? I think that Solo, it's a likely outcome here that Solo will take on Cody for the Undisputed Championship at Backlash as Solo tries to regain the championship for his tribal chief. I could see a possibility where Gunther moves over to SmackDown. I think they're gonna wind up a ton of heels for Cody to go up against, and I think that all the baby faces then like a Jey Uso, could align. As we know, Jey Uso and Damian Priest looks like that's gonna be happening at Backlash for the World Championship after that incredible fatal four-way match last night. I think that could be a possibility. Bronson Reed could be on Raw as you need to give Sami Zayn the mid card. I think that the Intercontinental Championship stays on Raw, the United States Championship, and Logan Paul stays on SmackDown. Speaking of the Intercontinental Championship, we got Sammy and Chad Gable teaming up against Imperium, which will of course lead to Sammy and Gable next week in Sami Zayn's hometown of Montreal, Quebec, Canada. And I would not be surprised, I'll say this now, if there is a screwy angle and Chad Gable potentially turns heel on Sammy. Gable has been distancing himself for the Alpha Academy. Maybe we get a surprise right out of the gate here, and Gable becomes the new Intercontinental Champion. I would not mind seeing that. In the main event, I already mentioned CM Punk screwed Drew McIntyre after Ricochet did an incredible dive on Bronson Reed for the Spanish announce table along Jey Uso to hit the spear on McIntyre to get that World Championship match with Damian Priest. I think CM Punk and Drew McIntyre is the direction we're heading. Now, are they going to be able to hold off this personal animosity until SummerSlam? Or do they do the match at Clash of the Castle in Drew's hometown or Drew's, home country in Scotland? And then, Punk and Drew have the rubber match, maybe even a street fighter or a stipulation type match at SummerSlam. I think that could be a possibility as well. But overall, a very good Raw. We also saw Liv Morgan attack Rhea Ripley. We saw Roxanne Perez. She's going to be involved in the draft as well. So my only disappointment was there's not a ton of full-time members returning. As I mentioned, The Rock comes out. John Cena came out to help his childhood hero, R-Truth, and The Miz defeat JD McDonough, Dom, and the Judgment Day. So that was cool to see. Uh, but again, a very good episode and an interesting way to kick off this new era. I think on the SmackDown side, I think SmackDown's going to be kind of holding water here. Damian Priest and Jey Uso on the Raw side is a match that I would not have guessed is for the World Championship even a year ago. I think Cody and Solo sort of hold the fort until SmackDown gets a whole bunch of new challengers for Cody as Cody now takes over the Roman mantle on SmackDown, which again, for the first time since August of 2020, Roman Reigns is not the main champion on that brand. Pretty much the entirety of the Friday Night SmackDown era on Fox has been consisted of the Bray Wyatt era, the COVID era there with Braun Strowman, and then Roman Reigns, with obviously a few weeks of Goldberg mixed in there as Universal Champion. But I think we all know the WWE Friday Night SmackDown era on Fox was the Roman Reigns era, and now we are transitioning into the American Nightmare, the Cody Rhodes era. Very excited for Cody Rhodes, the final boss potentially in my hometown, SummerSlam, August 3rd, 2024. And as the final boss has said over the last few weeks, and the reason why I'm kicking off with wrestling on today's podcast is because wrestling, specifically professional wrestling. Of course, we have high school wrestling. There's college wrestling, just like basketball, just like football, just like every other sport. But there is a sport called professional wrestling, and it is cool once again. Like that clip from the Brand's World podcast? If so, make sure you go down there and hit that subscribe button. While you're down there hitting the subscribe button, make sure to also hit the notification bell so you never miss another upload. And make sure you check out all the other clips from the Brand's World podcast right here on YouTube.